Hello guys, nice to see you today at our new lesson. Today we will install Visual Studio Integrated Development Environment to create our first simple project with the help of this super convenient tool. Here is our agenda for today. We will cover the following questions. What is IDE? What are the most popular IDEs for C# development? Why we selected Visual Studio? How to install Visual Studio to your machine? How to perform basic configuration of Visual Studio. So what is Integrated Development Environment or IDE? It is a software application that provides comprehensive facilities to computer programmers for software development. An IDE normally consists of at least a source code editor, build automation tool, and debugger. Some of the IDEs, such as JetBrains Rider and Visual Studio, contain the necessary compiler. Integrated development environments are designed to maximize a programmer's productivity. Reducing development environment setup time can increase a developer's productivity, especially in cases when learning to use the IDE is faster than manually integrating and learning all the individual tools. The most popular IDEs for C# development are Microsoft Visual Studio, JetBrains Rider, and Visual Studio Code. I have a working experience with each of them, and, to be honest, I can conclude that they are very similar to each other. The only difference between them is the way how to configure this specific project, because the same buttons are located in different places. This is the short answer regarding the major differences between these IDEs. Still, my preferable option would be Visual Studio Community Edition. You can ask me why. Here are a few reasons for this. First, this version of Visual Studio Community Edition is completely free. That is good for our educational purposes. So, you do not have to search for some crack version of this IDE or spend your own money to buy some ultimate edition of this tool. The set of utilities provided by Community Edition of this integrated development environment is totally enough for our educational purposes. Second, in many companies, Visual Studio is in the standard software package for C# software engineers or software test automation engineers specialized in C#. The main reason of its such popularity is that it is powerful for creation of any type of applications. The following advantage of this IDE is its huge community. On the internet, you will find a lot of support about how to deal with various configuration issues in case you have them in your project while working with Visual Studio. Another vote for using this IDE is the great number of free extensions and plugins. You can easily extend the set of tools installed in this program. For example, you can add a plugin which checks your code style. You can add an extension that will show your test code coverage, and even plugins that help you to manage the style of icons, background, and fonts in this Visual Studio, and much more. You will love this IDE as much as me when you start working with it. So this means that it's time to install this tool on our machines to proceed with coding. Now, let's together download and install Visual Studio on your workstation. We will configure the basic extensions for this IDE also. In our future lessons, you will see how IDE could make our life easier. Let's switch to our browser and perform search in Google according to the following screen. Visual Studio Community Edition. Click on the first link. You can see the following button below the title of the page in your language. Download Visual Studio. I will click on Download button for Community Edition since it is totally free and will cover all our needs for test purpose. Then I wait until the .exe file is fully downloaded and left-click on the installation program icon runner at the left bottom corner of my browser. We should wait a bit until the installer is opened. Then I allow it to make changes on my computer. After this, you can see the welcoming message from Visual Studio Installer. If you do not have a Visual Studio installer on your computer, you will be asked to install it first, before you can continue working with this program. In future, with the help of this installer, you may manage the versions of your Visual Studio as well as the components installed inside it. Also, you may see a suggestion to configure a few things before installation as shown on my screen. Since I do not have Visual Studio installer on my machine now, I click on Continue button and wait until the configuration finishes. After installation is finished, you can see Visual Studio Community Installer with the set of available options and components of your IDE, such as Web and Cloud and Desktop and Mobile. Let's scroll a bit down and put a tick near .NET Core Cross-Platform Development option in Other Toolsets category. If you want, you may select the destination folder where your components will be installed with the help of Change button near Location option. If you click on it, you will be redirected to Installation Locations tab of installer and may change the destination directory. I will keep it as it is. If you click on Individual Components tab, you will see which components will be installed as a part of category you selected on Workloads tab. For example, .NET Core 3 runtime and .NET 5 runtime will be installed as a part of .NET Core Cross-Platform Development option. If you do not want some components to be installed, you may remove the tick from it. I will keep everything as it is and click on Install button. Visual Studio is quite a big application, so let's wait until it is fully loaded and configure it on our computer. I will keep Start after installation checkbox checked to start the application after the installation finishes automatically. After the installation is finished, you can see that Visual Studio Community Edition is installed on your computer with the help of Visual Studio Installer. In future, you can add or remove components from it with the help of Modify button. If you want to uninstall it, you can also do so with the help of this installer. But I hope you will like this IDE and do not want to uninstall it in the future. We see that the default start window of Visual Studio is opened with the following options in the right. Connect to a codebase, clone a repository, open a project or solution, open local folder, create a new project, and continue without code. Let's select Create a new project option. Then select C# console application and click on Next button. Let's call it Hello World. In the location input, you can change the destination folder for your project if you want. I will keep it as it is and click on the Next button. Then I will select .NET Core 3.1 as a target .NET framework since it has long-term support from Microsoft and click on Create button. Then we should wait a bit until the default empty console application project is loaded. In the right corner of the created project, you can see Solution Explorer window. Here you can find all the dependencies, directories, and classes of your project and manage them with this convenient way. You can see that this solution already has program class that can be found in Solution Explorer that I showed to you. It is opened in the edit mode of the main part of your window, so if you want, you may add some code to this class. Let's add public access modifiers for program class and main method of this class. Then you should press Ctrl+S keys combination to save the changes in this file. Another option to save changes in Visual Studio is to click on Save All button or Save Concrete File button. I would strongly suggest you to press this button as much often as possible, since Visual Studio do not save your changes automatically right after you do them. That is why if you start debugging your application without saving changes, you may see that the old configuration of your project is used. Let's verify that everything works fine and click on Run button for our solution. You can see that the console window is opened with Hello World text at the upper left corner. If I press Enter key on my keyboard and see that the opened window is closed automatically, which means that everything is set up correctly. If you want to increase or decrease the size of font in your editing window, You may scroll mouse wheel, so you will have the studio set up conveniently for your learning purposes. So that's it. We have our IDE prepared for our first simple application creation. Let's sum up what we did today. We learned the following. Learned what IDE is, discovered the most popular IDEs for C# applications, discovered why Visual Studio Community Edition is suitable for our goals, verified how to install Visual Studio on your computer, observed how to configure Visual Studio basically. Your home task will be to install Visual Studio on your machine. To do so, you should do the following. Download the installation file for Visual Studio Community Edition. Run the installation file and follow instructions. Configure Visual Studio according to your preferences. Create Hello World application to verify everything is set up correctly. That is everything what I got for you for today. I hope that this was interesting for you to learn how to install Visual Studio Community Edition with me. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next lesson.